And welcome back to the channel. Fresh off the plane from Europe, it's your host, me, Brian Brooks, and back from a trip to the Windy City, it's the
Yep.
commissioner, Nick Moore.
Yep. I got to follow along via Twitter as my Spurs booked their ticket to their first European Championship final since the infamous Lucas Moura 3 goals in like 10 minutes. Absolute wonderland. And all I have to say is, Ross, fuck you, dude. You're going down. Don't take this from me. And it's also perfect that whoever wins this game has no business being in the Champions League, but it is the world we live in today.
Yeah, 6 English teams in the Champions League. Don't know how I feel about that. But that's not
I
my
mean,
place.
I don't know if this is necessarily the right place or time, but who had Italy versus France in the Champions League final? I'm on Team Inter for this one, just because I think it's hilarious that PSG just can't get over the hump. I hope for more heartbreak for them, but
The only way I would be okay with PSG is it's because Mbappe could go trophyless at Madrid. I think, and Luis Enrique is a pretty good guy, but otherwise, yeah, I'm on Team Inter here.
PSG's team is more likable now that Neymar and Mbappe are gone, and like, right, I mean, Messi. Everybody loves Messi. I shouldn't say everybody, but they had such a good superstar team and never did anything. It would be hilarious that it's like, yeah, we literally our best player like walked out. We got no money out of it, and we're better.
The power of sports washing. Anywho, speaking of sports washing, give it up, Mr. Sean Newland, winning the inaugural challenge. Yeah, a little golf clap, not rousing applause there. I don't know. To be expected. I think that was your pick. I think it was probably the betting favorites pick. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm like, as the league has evolved over the years, right? Newland is somebody that's been with us, I think, since the pre FPL days, right? I think he was with us in the Fantrax League. So he's an OG soccer fantasy guy, and he has been remarkably consistent. Um, and I definitely think week one he was probably the betting favorite, and regardless of getting second place in his group, I still think he was probably came out of the group stage as one of the favorites, but maybe there was a little blemish. And then, man, I think he had the highest aggregate score in all 3 rounds um, of the challenge, right? So, I mean, Newland came to play. He had his eye on the prize. He knew exactly what he was doing. And congratulations. He makes history. First time F65 Challenge champion. So, congratulations. If you never win another trophy, you'll always have this one, buddy. So, here's to hoping.
Yeah, he 190 points in the quarters, 131 in the semis, and then a 145 in the final round. Funny enough, looking at my screen here, of the 4 teams playing, Newland's 71 points was bottom. Jimmy had a 4-point lead. Bogert and myself were in a 1-point match at the end of one, but yeah, Newland not scoring the least amount of points in the final, but then just week
In the
two
first leg.
in the first
And I
leg.
think looking at those other scores, I think Newland's team really took to heart that, you know what, it's a 2-legged tie, right? And it's still all to play for. And part of that is, I mean, not that the other teams didn't, if you compare to the rest of the league, but between you and Bogert and Jimmy, nobody higher than 42 points in that second leg. And Newland almost doubles up the rest of the competition, or the teams that were still playing, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, his team saved the best for last, and he's going to be rewarded.
Speaking of rewards, don't forget to tip your host, Newland. We'll drop our Venmo in the YouTube chat when this goes live. But the plucky underdog, Jim Jam Wiesbrock, my pick to make the final, my pick to win it all, comes up just short, but a pretty good performance. He, like we said, Newland came to play in the second leg. Jimmy definitely came out strong in the first leg, but didn't do much to make up for. He was sitting pretty, and his team is just like, we got this in the bag.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
it definitely feels like he is a team that peaked early, right? I mean, he had the second highest score, aggregate score in the quarters, right? And then if you look, I mean, and you as somebody that got eliminated in the semis or, knocked out of the championship, right, in the semis, and outscored Jimmy by 20 points, but Jimmy moves on, sometimes that can, you got to play the opponent you're given, not the field. And so Jimmy was a little bit of a beneficiary of a lighter semifinal matchup, a defensive affair, if you will. But you know what? He's the guy that eliminated me, so I'm mostly upset that he couldn't go. I can't say I got beat by the champ. So Jimmy, I mean, you do it to me all the time. You cut me deep, man. You cut me deep.
Yeah, that matchup certainly, at least for the semis, felt a little PSG Arsenal, uh, where I think moving down to the third place match, it
Well,
was
before we move on to the third place, I just wanted to say, right, both Jimmy and Newland threw some chips
oh
this last week in the final, right? Jimmy used his bench boost,
mm,
and with 4 players on his bench, he added 3 points to his
mm,
grand total.
not gonna cut
So
it.
a complete dud. And I think we've hit on this in the past, but I went back in because I remembered we talked about your amazing bench boosts. And Brooks, back in game week 26, you also threw a bench boost down, 4 players, 28 points, right? And it's not that that would have helped Jimmy, but man, he went with his chip. He went to play to win, and man, that's got to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I think the logic is there, but maybe the transfers weren't. Maybe it was just the wrong players. Maybe Newland was just inevitable, and that's how it goes sometimes.
It is. It is. But yeah, now I think we can move on to that third place game. And what a game it was. Brooks, do
Yeah.
you want to talk us through your thought process, your feelings? What was going on?
Yeah, if the other matchup was PSG Arsenal, this one definitely was more Barcelona Inter. It was 1 point at the end of the first leg, and then we find ourselves. I make up that 1 point exactly in the second leg, so we ended it on tie on aggregate. I used a wild card, I believe, to make some moves because I wasn't liking my the team I had at the time, and it would have been okay if I had gotten my bench in the right order because I had a guy not play and it subbed at 0 points instead of 6. So that's the way she goes sometimes. I was on the in the quarters. I was on the winning side of a tight series in the third place game. I'm not in the money, which is unfortunate. I come up just short, but I'm sure Bogert probably wishes there was another move or two he could have made. I don't know what's going through his head, but it's agonizing to come up just short. But I think the people love it when um, people like to see failure. Depending on the individual. Um,
Well, you know what, Brooks? I just want to take a minute to speak to when you're at this level, and I can't even say this because I had been long eliminated, right? But when you're playing FPL at that level, the margins truly are razor thin. I mean, you guys are tied on aggregate. We go into the tiebreaker, and just so there's no mystery, right? The first tiebreaker is most individual week points scored, and Bogert, as you mentioned, had that 1 point lead after the first leg, and that 74 is higher than your 70. I mean, it's just you're elite. You're so elite, but it's just the little things that matter at that
yeah.
at that level.
So in Bogart's case, it helped to shoot his shot early. Didn't help Jimmy, but that's the way she goes. I'll be going gallivanting off to Europe to do some scouting for next year. Get my items and transfer target some people I might want to target. You know, uh,
Wait, I thought you said you just got off the plane.
just got off the plane. We're going right back. It's that kind of we came back. We flew stateside to watch the team come up just short. We got to go right back.
Well, let us know if there's any players that are look promising. Help the league out a little bit. You don't have to give us everything. Give us just a one or two nuggets would be great.
I can tell you right now, y'all should book Trent Alexander-Arnold for a spot on your team. Just do it right away. That surely won't backfire. But before we move on, we did get some write-in comments.
Yeah, and we asked the league. We got a couple of things back, but obviously you hear from you, the viewer, hear from us, the proverbial us, regularly. And so we thought, what better way to get some more comments on the conclusion of our first challenge than to ask you, the viewer, for input.
Yeah, so our first comment, Pure.
Oh, I'm doing the first one. Okay. So the first comment we got is, I'd say that I'm surprised, but let's be honest, I got exactly what I deserved. Now, if you want to write in the comments who you think that is, you can pause here briefly. But that was from Mr. Bogert. And, third place, he wins $50, but you know what? He got what he deserved. So,
must be nice. Must be nice. And we actually had a second write-in comment. Pure, unadulterated schadenfreude for everyone else. I'm pretty sure my team thought the knockout part meant knocking me out of the competition. Dramatic pause for your guesses down below in the comments. Who do you think wrote that in?
I noticed a little bit of German in there. You didn't write this in, did you, Brooks?
I did not. Was it another German member of our league? No, it was not. It was Mr. Aiden Boyle, the AI man himself. So thanks for writing in.
AI manager, that seems like an AI comment almost. I don't know.
We'll have to run that through some sort of analysis to see where it originated from, but we appreciate the commentary, folks.
But yes, and on the one hand, this is the close of one chapter of the F65 FPL League. The challenge is done, but we are not ones to rest on our laurels of what's past. It's on to the next thing. And last week was the first round of the F65 Cup, and we're now on to the quarters. So we got more to look forward to, Brooks. There's still a lot to play for out there.
We do, and not to pile it on anymore. Not to pile it on myself anymore, but not a great week for me. Another 42-point week, and that's not going to get it done. Where I faced Adam Zingsheim. He outscores me by 10 in the round of 16. Good old Onion Bag FC himself, Adam Carlson, takes on Jamie, comes ahead. Jimmy falls again. Bogert moves on as well, and Ross falls to Jacob Waltz. So not the best week for Jimmy and myself, but at least Jimmy's got some dollar bills coming his way to dry those tears with.
Very true. And then, there was 4 buys that were given out in that first round. And so now we have, drum roll please, I think we have the budget to put that in the background, right, in post. So the quarterfinals are set here in game week 36. I will be taking on the devilish, the dashing, the daring Zingsheim. So he and I are going head-to-head this week. The Tot fans, classic. One of the Tot fans is going to get eliminated in the quarterfinals. Then Bogert is taking on Tyler in another quarterfinal matchup. We've got the AI man, Aiden, taking on Jacob Waltz. And finally, the F65 Challenge champ, Newland himself, still alive in the cup. He's going up against Adam Carlson, Bieber himself. And one of those 8 people there, Brooks, are going to be going home with a nice little prize and some silverware. So
I do have to say, not to look too far ahead, but Aiden, I believe, is still atop of the league. Like you said, Newland has already got some silverware. I don't want to see the domestic double. I want to see 3 unique winners in the league and the cup and the challenge. So with that being said, I am backing Aiden to retain or to keep his lead at the top. And I'm actually going to pick Tyler Soth. to come out of the quarterfinals. Is it because he's playing Bogart and I'm still a little peeved? Absolutely. But that's my pick.
You know what, Brooks? I couldn't agree with you more. Literally, the worst case scenario at this point is the treble, right? Newland is 28 points behind Aiden. So, Aiden, please focus on the league. Like, I know that it's the same score, right? But seriously, you got to keep this 28-point lead intact somehow. 3 game weeks left. Don't fuck it up. Don't bottle this. So we're pulling for Aiden in the league, which, to your point, then Brooks, means I'm pulling for somebody else in the knockout stages. And unlike you, I'm still in it. So I'm going to take a page out of your book. I'm going to back myself. I'm going to go. I think I'm the reigning Cup winner from last year. So I'm gonna take myself to do a back-to-back Cup run.
I can't blame you. If I was still in it, I might pick myself. But do you have any chips left? Are you going to be throwing down some chips for these last game weeks?
So it was made pretty clear to me right around game week 26 or so that the league was out of play, right? So I was immediately started thinking, let's keep those chips in reserve. I didn't use a chip the first round of the quarters, and I was losing to Jimmy, so I threw down the assistant manager chip as like you know what, let's just let's dip our toes in the pond here for the challenge. Got eliminated, and at that point, it was we're all in for the cup. So I've got 3 chips left. I've got my free hit, got my bench boost, got my triple captain, and I've got three weeks to use them. So my only hope is that I have meaningful matchups all 3 of those weeks. So
One can hope. One can hope. Not me, though.
yeah, it's a strategy that I used last year, and it paid off. So we'll see.
I tried something similar. I just chose to focus on the challenge, not the cup. To go back to the league real quick, like we were talking about, it's a 2-team race to the top, Aiden versus Newland. And then we've got Zingsheim just kind of hanging out in third. I don't think he's going to be caught by any of 4 through 8, which I would call the meaty middle here, solidly mid-table. And then, yeah, there's no relegation battle this year. Isn't to say that there couldn't be any next year when the league expands, but I would say teams are firmly in the spot they're going to finish. Other than teams 4 through 8, you could convince me that any combination of teams would finish in whatever spot, especially hearing that you've got all these chips available. You only find yourself some 40 odd points short of 4th place. So a lot to play for. Bragging rights pride is on the line. Yeah, it's a lot to play for.
I will say Brooks and I did a quick scouting mission, a recruiting mission, if you will, here last weekend. Pretty sure we got our hooks in another person that we might be able to reel in. So your YouTube hosts are doing their part to grow the league. So in solidarity, ask your wives, ask one person. We hit on it early in the year. If each of us gets one person in the league, man, this thing could really blow up.
If anything, Newland should be recruiting since he just keeps to keep winning, and that's just more money back in his pocket. So step it up, Newland.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, here we are. It's there's a lot to play for. It's the end of the year, and it's pretty exciting stuff. And that's what the F65 League is all about.
I would say there's probably going to be one more episode at the very least. Maybe we'll do a mid-cup check-in, but we'll definitely get our season wrap up here as the European and English leagues are winding down. There's more to play for here than in the English Premier League, I can tell you that.
Yeah, those poor tractor boys. We hardly knew you.
Hardly knew you. Maybe this time we'll be talking about Wrexham players and finding that you've, not to go on a tangent here, but I was making transfers the other day, and I went to save it, and it's like, do you have too many Brentford players? And I think I did something similar with Fulham earlier in the year, and I was like, what have I done to get to this point in my life where I'm trying to select more than 3 Fulham or Brentford players?
What universe is this?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, Brooks, I think that just about wraps it up here. And again, one more time, Newland, congratulations. Good for you. And we won't talk about it again.
Never again. Until next time.
Yeah. Peace.